Hi guys, what we're going to do is take something that you might be a little familiar with, which is something called a story sequence when you're understanding something that you've read, a story, or just a job, a task that you might do. And what do you do first? And then what do you do after that? When you're brushing your teeth, you get your toothbrush first. What do you do next? You get your cup with water. What do you do after that? You wet your toothbrush. After that, you get the toothpaste. And we put things in order to understand how we are supposed to be doing them. So I'm taking the story of how to build a snowman, or just the concept of steps to get something done. Building a snowman all the way until when it melts. So the twist I'm putting on this, and to turn it into an art activity, is to grab some Play-Doh, any kind of Play-Doh that you want, and we're going to not just build a snowman through a story picture or a story sequence, but to build a snowman using Play-Doh. And you can do this with any kind of steps. You could do it with, you could use your Play-Doh to go over steps for building a pizza, anything that you think would be fun to do with using Play-Doh to copy each step of the story. Okay, so I think that you're going to have fun doing this if this is one of your choices that you want to try. And here's the next step. Step number one, you would be building your bottom of your snowman out of snow. Step number two, in your story sequence, you would be adding a second ball to your snowman, or if you're really doing this outside. For step number three, you would need to add the top ball of snow to your snowman. And these are actually in the shape of a sphere, right? A three-dimensional circle. Step four, you would gather some things, and even though these are outside items that we're going to talk about, you can gather some things from inside to add to your snowman when we make it out of Play-Doh. But we can use, if we were outside in real life, we would be using twigs, stones or pieces of coal are traditional for the mouth and eyes, and a carrot for the nose, right? And then we would dress him. So we could add a scarf, buttons, maybe you have a little piece of yarn for your Play-Doh that you want to put on your snowman. And then I didn't think to put like a little hat on him, so let's put a hat. And then finally, what happens after the sun comes out and your snowman has been built for a little while? It melts, right? So wait until you see what we do when it's time for our snowman to melt. Okay, so when you've got your Play-Doh ready, and by the way, don't feel like you have to have white Play-Doh just because we're making a snowman, because I thought I had white, but other people at home have gotten a hold of this and mixed it with other colors. So it's a gray snowman, and that's okay. So what we want to do is gather some things, which I did, a couple things from outside, a couple things from inside, and I'm going to use these tiny objects to add to my snowman. So remember, he's going to need 3 balls out of clay. So when we're building a snowman, we do the largest one on the bottom, so I'm going to gather as much as I want. I can make the bottom part as big or as small, any size that I want to, right? The bottom one is going to determine the size of the rest of my snowman, because whatever I put on top has to be a little smaller, and whatever I put on top of that has to be even smaller, right? Big, bigger, biggest, or small, smaller, smallest, or small, medium, large. So I just rolled in a ball by doing my cha-cha with my hands to roll, or you can do your DJ scribble like you're mixing a record on the record player and being a DJ, and we can roll that way. So I have my bottom large sphere. He's looking like he'll be a little bit of a tiny snowman. And then I have to determine what will make a medium size. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to do the same thing for my medium size. And I don't know from this angle if you'll be able to see my snowman as he builds up. I may have to lay my snowman down so you can see him. So I'll press that on there so it sticks together. And like I said, you can't really see from that direction. Maybe I'll lay him down so you guys can see. And I gotta kind of press him down onto the table a little bit so he doesn't roll. And then my last one has to be the small one, right? The smallest of the three. And I'll roll it into a ball and make sure. So these are our steps, right? Now we're following the steps here that we talked about, our story sequence. What happens first, what happens second, all the way to what happens last. So there's his head. We can all agree that we have 3 different size spheres or snowballs for making our snowman. Now the fun part. We can decorate him, right? We are on step number 4 now over here on the side where we are giving him his body parts. So I found 2 of the tiniest rocks that I could find outside. Stick them in our clay of our snowman, our pretend snow. And I couldn't find anything tinier than what we see here. So I grabbed a piece of mulch that I could find, and that is going to be his mouth. And then, same thing, I had to improvise. I had to come up with something different because I did not have a carrot this tiny. I could maybe have gotten like a shredded piece of carrot maybe from a salad or something like that. But you know what? I just remembered I have this orange marker here. Let's see what happens if I color it orange. If you're really stuck on it being orange, but remember, we're not paying that much attention to our colors today, starting with our Play-Doh color for the snow. You might not use the same thing you see from me. I just grabbed this teeny tiny little like herb that is surviving outside from a lavender plant. I didn't have to do that, but since the orange is right here, I figured I would. And this is not very stiff, so it will be interesting to see how it gets in. Might have to take his mouth off. I might need to use this to help me press it in. His little carrot nose. Oh gosh, that is too funny. And then here's his mouth. Okay. Oh, that's kind of cute. And then he has some buttons, and I happen to have some buttons laying around. We'll press that in. Oh, let's see. Do I have a front or a back? I always save my buttons when I buy clothing that comes with extra buttons. I save them. And then I found this teeny tiny twig that already had a broken look to it. So I was like, oh, that would be great for his arm. We'll put that in for his arm. How cute is that? And I didn't find a second one. So for his arm, I got some toothpicks. So maybe you have some of those, or maybe you can find some nice sticks like I found outside. And you can use anything that you have laying around. You don't feel like you have to use what Mrs. Pfeffley is using. Right now, he's not going to have a hat. But I did have, I have a lot of little pieces of yarn at home. So I just cut a piece of yarn off my skein. And I'm going to lift up his head very gently and give our Frosty the Snowman a nice warm scarf. That's how we dress him, right? With the buttons and the scarf, and maybe you have a little toy hat or something, I don't know. How cute is our little snowman? So then we just did our step 5, right? And then what happens when the sun comes out? When the sun comes out, it melts the snowman, right? So as long as you can play with your snowman for a little bit if you want to, and then when you're ready for step 6 in our story of how to build a snowman, he has to melt. So this is the part where we get to ruin it, right? And knock it over. So he's standing up, and you're going to put your hand on top, and you're going to melt the snowman. Oh no! What happened? He's all melted now. Isn't that too funny? So when he's melted, the only things that are left are a pile of water from the melted snowman and all of his parts that have spread all around. So if you want to do this with anything else, you could even do it with, you could use Play-Doh and steps for making a pizza or anything else that you can think of that has a story sequence that would be easy to use with some good old Play-Doh, right? All right, so I hope you had fun doing your story sequence with a little Play-Doh twist and making all of the parts of the story with your Play-Doh. Okay, I'll see you next time, boys and girls. Bye.